Do you think that your day was the worst ever, or just a bad day, or you don't feel the luck at the moment? You're gonna change your mind watching these videos.
The Russian gold drop. A gold rush started in early 2018 for the citizens of Siberia after dozens of gold bars fell from a cargo plane as it was taking flight. The plane was carrying over 9 tons of gold and other precious metals. It seems the pilot was going to see the Wizard of Oz because as he was taking off, he left dozens of gold bars scattered all over the runway.
So my question is more like, before the plane took off, I think the pilot should have checked that everything was in order. Generally, if the door is open, a warning light should go off,
turning it into a yellow brick road. But get this, the plane wasn't just carrying gold, the cargo also included silver, diamonds, and platinum. The full value of the cargo was placed at $368 million.
$368
The agency
million?
reported that a strong wind could have blown the hatch door open during takeoff and also suggested that technicians who prepared the plane for takeoff may have improperly sealed the door. Tell us what you think happened in the
wonder
comments.
if they still were there.
Talk about a bad day at work. Now let's get ready for today's missing topic. Do you know how common it is for vehicles to fall in the water during ice fishing season? It actually happens more than you realize. Ice fishing veterans will tell you the safe places that you can dive, but it's a different story for the inexperienced fishers. Most insurance plans will cover retrieving the vehicle from the water, which can cost anywhere between $10,000 and $20,000. But as far as the damage to the vehicle, unfortunately, it's nearly always a total loss for the owner. So be careful out there.
A new sport.
Have you ever been
Car
ice fishing? Comment below using the hashtag #MissingFile to share your story. Kid punches $1 million painting. Here's to a trip to the museum gone wrong. A 12-year-old Taiwanese boy holding a beverage in his left hand lost his footing and slipped. To avoid totally crashing on the floor, he used his right hand to grab onto the wall to catch his balance. Unfortunately, what he thought was the wall was actually a 350-year-old painting that was valued at over $150 million.
$150 million. That's insane. Can you imagine that? Pay the damages for that pain with that value. I think that his parents are going to use all their savings for his college. No PS4, no PS5, no iPhones. I don't think that he's gonna cover all the damages. You know, a 350 years paint require much work and a lot of attention. It's not something that you're going to repaint. I think they say, boy, this part was brown, not yellow. And the boy, you know, I have my colors repainted, but I don't have the brown. So they teach us that if you mix red, yellow, and blue, you'll have the brown. So here is the red and blue. Yes, stop it, boy, get out of the way.
The art piece was featured in a Leonardo da Vinci themed art show. And as you can see in the video, he looks up and freezes as he looks around the room. And you can see how everyone stops in their tracks around him. Luckily, the organizers did not ask him or his family to pay the cost for the restoration process.
Oh, dear
It was
Lord.
also reported that the painting contained permanent damage after the blunder. Although the painting was compromised, there's something to say about the boy not spilling that drink. Now
So
that takes
one lucky
dedication.
person between the unlucky people.
Woman trapped in elevator. Can you imagine being trapped in an elevator for an hour? What about an entire day? Well, that's
What?
nothing compared to a New York woman who was trapped in an elevator for an entire 3 days.
3 days? That's insane. Don't you have a phone? Don't tell me that your phone at the moment was dead and your relatives didn't wonder where were you. I think that if you don't speak for one entire day with one of your family members, is that worrying about, I don't know, they left you. It's like Home Alone, but in this case it's Elevator Alone 3.
The elevator is a part of a private townhouse in Manhattan's Upper East Side, and a family who lives there left town for the weekend, leaving a cleaning employee there by herself on a Friday afternoon. The woman did not have a cell phone, and the elevator did not have a call box or an emergency button to call out for assistance if ever needed. The elevator suddenly stopped between the second and third floor, leaving the housekeeper alone without any way of calling for help. The residents did not return home until Monday morning, where the trapped woman was finally rescued. The family immediately called for EMS services, and luckily the woman was treated without having any permanent or major injuries. The terrible story will make you think twice about entering any elevators without a cell phone.
I wonder if in that 3 days he didn't have any sort of emergency, like go to the toilet or eat. Maybe don't eat for 3 days is not a big deal, not a real problem. But for the toilet.
Guy burns down his own house. Everyone enjoys a nice 4th of July celebration, right? I do as well, but as long as you keep it safe, that wasn't the case with a 36-year-old Brooklyn man who burned down his own house all while just trying to have some fireworks fun. You can see the man in his driveway lighting up fireworks with his buddies and having a great time. Unbeknownst to him, a firework launched from his porch and flew into an open window in the house. None of the partiers seemed to notice as they continued to light more fireworks, all while a fire ensued inside that man's house. At one point, he even goes inside to retrieve more fireworks,
No way.
but doesn't notice the growing fire at all.
From what I understand, you accidentally set the fire to the house, to your house. You go into the house where there's a fire to get more fireworks, and you don't realize anything. That's impossible. I mean, the fire isn't invisible, cold, and at some point you're burning or smell smoking.
Once he actually notices it, it's far too late. You can see him try to kill the fire with his home water hose, but it's just not enough. It actually took 12 firefighter units and 60 members to finally bring one fire under control. The total damage was over $36,000, and the man was charged with arson. This reminds me of the old saying, if you play with fire, you might get burned.
Yeah, that's true.
Bitcoin in the trash.
How come
More and
people
more people are
became
investing in the
rich
ever-growing market
because of Bitcoins?
Invented in 2008, we've seen the digital currency do nothing but continue to grow in popularity since. Fast forward to now, we meet Newport Wales man James Howes. Howes claimed to have accidentally thrown away a hard drive containing 7,500 Bitcoins.
How much it
At the
worth?
time, Bitcoins were valued at more than $1,000 per coin. When you do the math, you realize he threw away over $7.5 million worth of digital currency. It was back in 2013 when Howes intended to toss away a hard drive he thought was obsolete, but ultimately discarded the wrong one. He says he was absolutely devastated. He has since offered the Wales Council numerous offers to share the fortune if they let him go to the landfill where it's located to try and find it. He states he will happily give a quarter of the fortune to the local council and anyone in the city who is struggling right now. The problem is the licensing issues, as the landfill prevents anyone from removing anything from the field of rubbish. The cost of safely digging up the landfill could cost millions and is without a guarantee of actually finding the missing hard drive. The council maintains its stance that digging into the rubbish could have a huge environmental impact on the surrounding area, and they just aren't willing to budge on their decision. What a costly mistake.
But he's not the most unfortunate in this situation. There is another guy, Stefan Thomas, that forgot his Bitcoin password, and the value, the fortune of his Bitcoin is almost $220 million. A big difference. At least the other one knows the password, but he doesn't have his personal computer. Instead, Thomas has the computer, but doesn't know the password.
Ann Hodges, the woman hit by a meteorite. The very first recorded event in history where a person had been struck by a meteorite happened in Alabama in 1954, and Ann Hodges lived to tell the story all about it. Hodges never intended to be famous, but the incident spread through the national media, causing her to become an overnight sensation.
Is that possible?
Hodges was 34 at the time and ironically lived across the street from the Comet Drive-In Theater, where the storefront actually had a neon sign depicting a comet falling through the sky. The meteorite crashed through the roof at 2:46 p.m. while she was taking her daily nap. The flying object hit her radio, then deflected itself onto her hip. At first, Hodges had no idea what had happened. There she was in her bedroom with a hole in her roof and an 8-pound rock by her side. Soon, people in the surrounding areas and eventually people from all over the country came to the Hodges house to marvel at the phenomenon. This was the equivalent to going viral before social media.
So, what is the probability to be hit by a meteorite? I don't know.
The Balloon Boy hoax. This story is about the length some people go to for fame. The story began in 2009 when a homemade balloon containing a 6-year-old boy took flight from a Colorado family's backyard.
How could you let your son get on that balloon that is flying? This child is 6 years old. Where are you, parents? What's going on? What's the point?
Airborne and reaching up to 25 miles per hour, the incident unfolded on live television as national media outlets covered the story live. But there was one major flaw in the story. The boy was hiding in the family garage the entire time. While the entire nation watched together, hoping for the best, they all braced themselves for the worst.
So
But it all
no
turned
one
out to
is
be a
inside.
hoax. The parents of the boy had been shopping a reality TV show starring themselves to national television stations. No one was interested, so they created a plan. Richard, the father, built a 20-foot wide metallic balloon in his backyard. The plan was for Falcon to pretend he flew off in the balloon, but instead hide in the basement for half an hour. Then he was to emerge safe and all would be well. The couple had hoped the incident would go viral and help them secure a deal for their science-based reality show.
They did all this just to become famous. What people would do to get a moment's notoriety. That's bad parenting. Really, that's bad parenting.
But Falcon fell asleep and didn't hide where his parents instructed him. This caused a huge fiasco. When being interviewed on CNN Live, Falcon was asked why didn't he answer the calls when people were looking for him, and his answer, while looking up at his dad, was, "You said that we did this for the TV show." In the end, the parent served 110 days in jail and faced a huge amount of national embarrassment. Woman gives away lottery win. Emily Leach became a household name in California when she cashed a $1 million scratch-off lottery ticket. The unexpected win couldn't have come at a better time, as doctors had just discovered a massive tumor on her pancreas. Without any medical insurance, she found herself over $300,000 in debt. Then her luck changed as she won $1 million from the state lottery. And then things became troubled. One Sunday in January, she was in a local convenience store when two men recognized Leach from winning the previous lottery ticket. The men began to complain to Leach, saying they were down on their luck and asked her for money. Leach, saying she felt pressured, gave each of the men a $100 bill. What she didn't realize was along with the $100 bill, she also passed one of them a lottery ticket. The scratch-off she gave away was actually worth $260,000. Leach claims that it was
You do something good by giving money to those in need, and I don't know what to say. I'm speechless.
was an accident and is currently fighting to get at least a portion of the winnings from the man. Unluckiest man in Sodado. Finally, here's the story of the unluckiest man in Sodado, Spain. A town battered by a lack of jobs and a severe drought, the town was overdue for some good fortune, and it came in the form of lottery tickets. The annual Christmas lottery, known as El Gordo, is considered the biggest worldwide lottery draw. In this particular year, every one of the 70 residents in Sodado won a major payout, most averaging close to $1 million, and the smallest payout being $130,000.
So everybody wins.
Won. Well, all except one man, whose house is located roughly a mile outside the town's outskirts. The town's Homemakers Association, who sponsors the yearly event, went door to door to sell the lottery tickets. They missed his house. The town rejoiced, going from being destitute to being affluent overnight. While the women of the town said that they were going to hairdressers to celebrate, the town hairdresser, who won as well, announced she was retiring from the business. There you have it, 15 of the world's unluckiest people caught on camera. Who do you think was the most misfortunate? What would you have done in these situations?
So guys, that's all for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, because if you didn't, I'd be at home with you. See you tomorrow. I'm Moya the Genius. I'm out of here. Peace and stay tuned.